All right, I'll go here.
No, all right, fine. Look.
No. I'll go here. You go there. This is no here.
Here?
No here.
No there.
No there.
No there.
Oh.
Okay.
You there.
No there.
Okay, no there.
Okay.
Yes. All right, here we are.
Here. Okay.
No.
Here we are.
Yes. Very good. No.
Very
Yes.
good, no.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
What's up? This is the Experts Podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jake. We're experts who know everything, but we don't agree on any of it.
So what's good, dude? This is our boy. Know the robot.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Welcome, No.
Thank you.
Do people know your real name?
I've said it on the videos.
So
yeah.
it's public now.
Yeah, everyone knows my name is Chaz.
Great. Yeah, Chaz.
Chaz.
So for, I guess, experts lore, Know the Robot was featured on a previous episode, as was Chaz, the professional sleeper. And
Fun fact.
That's right.
Fun fact.
Yes.
Same guy.
Same guy.
Same guy.
Yeah,
Same guy.
hair. Same beard. Same hair.
That's
probably
all.
all new hair now. Just like,
Probably new hair.
Yeah, but-
I've been growing this one for a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's good.
Isn't that why we're here? To
Yeah.
really get to know the know behind.
To get to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was told anyway.
Yeah.
No, it was because that's it.
Let's just point this out for
Hey,
a
the
second.
viewers. You got viewers.
The viewers.
We got viewers.
Stepping up your budget here.
That's
It's
right.
pretty good.
Yeah. Look
Thank
at us,
you.
It's
dude.
going to be on TikTok.
Okay,
Maybe.
we'll chop it up.
There you go.
Put out bits.
Yeah, that's what gets the views these days. It's the algorithm. People love seeing just idiots like us talk about great stuff. I mean, experts like
Right,
us.
that's right. Thank you.
And
Thank
actually,
you. Yes.
that's a nice transition because you would know quite a bit about that because you've built yourself a nice little following. For our listeners, why don't you talk about the brand you've built for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it started with really just me doing animations, just to get my stuff out there. Nothing really like specific. Like I really just wanted to just get any sort of animations out there. And the thing that really popped off for me was just kind of doing funny in the sense that, you know, the animation itself is not the focus. It's more like the content of like what's in the actual video. There was one that I did in 2021 or 2 that was just kind of a joke animation of like a cow getting abducted in VR. And it was just a way for me to practice Unreal Engine. It was not supposed to be like a serious thing, but that was like on Instagram, the first thing that got me like 1 million views, like in like 2 days or something like that, something crazy. And then the following year, so in 2023, I did a series of videos talking about like the wealth scale of, or like the scale of how much $8 billion is versus $1 million versus how much money Elon Musk has. And like how far could, if you stacked all of his money as single dollar bills, like how far could it go around the earth? So pretty like, you know, the general audience can understand that because it's people love money. That was kind of the algorithm likes, you know, money, numbers, and then waiting until the end to find out how much money he has.
Which, by the way, I think we can all agree it was something like 1 billion something times.
It's too much.
Yeah, and I think we can all agree that he worked 1 billion times harder than
did.
any other
Yes.
human.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if he can be CEO of 5 companies,
Yeah.
maybe it's not that hard to be a CEO. I'm just saying. Whatever.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Yeah, I made animations to talk about my feelings about it.
But what I think's cool about
But-
those animations is that people really connected with them, and it was because you gave them sort of like a tangible thing to dream to.
Sure, yes.
Instead of just like a sort of a concept in which it was hard to put a picture to.
Yeah.
Now they can be like, okay, now I see how much I'm going to make one
Right,
day in
yes.
quarters or in pennies.
Yes,
You know?
and they're going to defend your right to be able to make that much money because maybe they will be a multi-trillionaire one day.
It's the
Just
lottery
like-
effect.
Just like,
Right.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is though. So I was doing those animations last year and I did like 3 or 4 of them. And the animation itself was pretty basic in terms of like, you know, like movement and everything. I was using a lot of like stock animation assets to kind of tell the story. And then, I mean, just really framing it in the sense of like, all right, you know, I know my goal with this is to show like, you know, set up at the very beginning what is going to be shown in this animation and then play it out and try to get people to wait until the end. And, you know, just the act of doing that just became it really did well with the algorithm.
Yeah.
But so that was the thing that kind of gave me the confidence to be like, oh, I can use my animations to like, even if it's not the things that I intended to set out to do, it was still at least like an outlet for my creativity to like my following up for a little bit of attention on the other thing. So like, if the videos were seen, the ones on YouTube really popped off. It was like, I think one is almost at 30 million views, just the one.
That is popping.
Which is insane. Now, are 30 million
That's our
people...
friend.
That's our boy.
Now, are 30 million people going to go watch the thing that I really want them to watch, which is the project I'm working on? No, I absolutely know that. But maybe if 0.01% of them go look at my other stuff, that's what? 30,000 people that I didn't have before now looking at some stuff. So,
Totally.
It allowed me to free myself of the like desire to get hundreds of likes and followers for this specific project. I'm like, I don't need to tie myself to that specific vision, and I can just post animations that I like. I don't have to really have a reason behind it. But if it translates to something else where I can, make a living off of that, or living off their support, then great. I'm not tied to it. But yeah, that was kind of where it really kind of popped off last year. But
And so much of what you do is about basically giving certain people perspective, and you're exploring this VR thing right now with the VR project, which is kind of your baby.
Yeah.
So is that playing a big role into how you're going about making it? And is it basically like a part of the concept, so to speak, telling people a story with a new perspective?
With the animations I'm working? Yeah. So the VR project, for those that aren't unfamiliar, it's a project I'm working on with a friend of mine who works at Pixar. And it's a VR animated short, is what I'm titling it. It's called New Venice, but it's a black and white animation with no dialogue between two robot characters. And the idea was from a animation I did in college. So there's a version of this that actually exists that is completely done, and now I'm basically translating that into VR. And I've known I wanted to take the story and adapt it to a different medium at some point, but having the ability to do it in VR and just exploring this new medium, I think is really cool. So that's what like the long-term thing of what I'm working on. Like, once or twice a week, I will check in with that and make sure that is progressing. The day-to-day stuff is more just, maintaining an audience of people that are interested in things that I am doing, so that when I come to them and I say, hey, I'm working on this VR project, it's something that they're aware of and something that they're interested in. But that is, the thing that's in the background the whole time is me working on this project. And it's going to take a few years. It won't be done for probably another 2 years, to be honest.
That's totally
a lot.
Reasonable. Any type of animated project, by the way, I think like minimum for a feature, it's like what, 6 years from start to finish?
Yeah, it's a bit anywhere between like 5 and 8. Now it could be like a rush job. Like I read Frozen, from what they had developed, like from 2008, 2009. They essentially scrapped everything, started over, and went from script to screen in like 2 years. Now that's unheard of. That is like, that you have your story and everything set in like 6 months. You animate that in another 6, and then you're in post the rest of the time. But
and that's with hundreds of people.
That is
working.
Like the biggest animation studio in the world doing this with the most talented artists. So that is pretty rare.
Right. But what's cool is, and as Zach explained, or rather, No the Robot explained.
Zach is fine.
Chaz. Actually, let's go with Chaz.
Chaz is Zach backwards, almost. That's
That's kind of that's exactly all it is. He's kind of taking his basic 3D animation approach and trying to like innovate it in the new VR space, which is blowing up, and we'll start to see a lot more of that stuff probably in the next couple of years. So.
Especially with the new Apple headset coming out, like they're not the first to do it, but they're definitely like when Apple does something, everyone pays attention. So
have you heard of USB-C?
It's blowing up. It's that
seeing it everywhere.
It's that hot new USB port that's on. It's going to be on every phone.
It's like probably my favorite hole. These days.
I would say it's up there.
It's a sweet hole.
It's up.
It's the cowboy reverse cowboy of plugs.
Yes, it really is. Yeah, you can go any way.
Yeah.
But so I think the VR space in the next couple of years will take off, at least maybe not like financially. Like I don't see a shit ton of people going out to buy this headset and like, really making this like as popular as the iPhone. Because it's so expensive, they're trying to make it like, accessible to developers and really just find people that will work out the kinks. And then by the time it does, have a more public release version, they've worked through all the stuff that they need to work through, and it's more accessible and affordable. But
you'll have content ready for it.
And that's the idea is, with trying to get ahead of that movement of, okay, the developers are getting the headset now. And like, we're still trying to figure out the language. Even Apple right now is saying to their developers, don't use the terms VR, AR, XR, MR, which is just, which I agree with, honestly. It is just confusing if you're the average person.
No.
If you're trying to get into it as someone new to the space, you see all these acronyms and it's kind of gatekeeping in a way. If there's too many acronyms, you're like, what's the difference between AR, VR, MR? Nothing. Like it's all describing the same thing. So they're calling it spatial. So spatial computing that's the term for it. So what I'm doing is essentially what they would call spatial animation. So that's probably the term I'm going to use going forward is like, it's animation in a medium that is spatial, that is around you. Now, whether that's mixed reality, augmented reality, pure virtual reality, it doesn't really matter because the medium is three-dimensional around you at that point. At least, in a couple of years, it will be a little more accessible and understood, but that's the idea, is to try to build that ahead of more people getting into this, so that I can go pitch it to someone like Apple, or this is really like this is very wishful thinking, but I would love to pitch it to Apple or even Meta or some other company to be like, hey, this is what we have. Here's our here's our concept art. Here's our Kickstarter, and this is the amount of people that are interested. If I can carry over fans of my artwork to the new project, and say there's interest in this thing, let's make something cool. So that's the general direction of it. But
like the first to walk on the moon, you are the first to spatially walk.
Yeah.
Or actually just spatially create, one of the first at least.
Yeah.
And I would actually like to take a step out of the future. I guess we're in the present future.
I can only guess, dude. Are you going there, bro?
I'm going there. We are also with the man who made Sarah versus a Star.
Oh no.
He is no stranger to 1 million plus view virality.
Yeah.
He is, this guy, I think, is probably the first guy that Nick and I met at college.
Yeah.
Who had something that was that successful.
That was funny. Yeah. So to give some background, my friends and I in high school used to make videos, and we would I just got really into like the editing side of it, and
Zop.
I would have a camera.
That's right.
Yeah,
Zop Studio.
Zop. Yeah, my channel was called Zop Studios, which is the name of my company now. I just kind of carried it over. But my friends and I were working on just different video things, and it was skits, it was music videos, it was, we were just having fun with it. But our Spanish class offered an extra credit assignment for if you wanted to make a video describing the difference between two words. It started out, there were two words, por and para, which mean for. Like they both mean like for something or for this, for that. But they obviously they have different meanings, different contexts. So we made a video describing the difference, but our spin on it was we did a rap song. We posted it on YouTube just for us, really. It was really just to be able to show it in class. That was really the only reason we put it on YouTube. And we showed our teacher, we got extra credit. That was great. And then the next year, they all had the same teacher. I was in a different class, but we were like, we should do it again. We should do another one, because that teacher was offering extra credit again for that same kind of assignment. So my friend and I wrote this like instrumental together, and then I finished it up, and that was kind of where I got into like writing music and producing stuff like that. Was I made the instrumental for the song, and then my friends came over, we recorded the song. A week later, we ended up like filming the whole music video just outside, like in the woods or whatever. And it was the same deal. We posted it on YouTube just for our teacher to see, and that ended up like being a hit at our school. Like people knew about it from our school, and I got opportunities at the school to like film the Talent Fest videos, like skits that they were doing, because they had seen this Spanish video. So that was as far as we were going to take it. Well, it turns out it's a really good teaching tool, because it describes the difference between these two words, Sarah and a star, which both mean to be. And the song is really catchy, so you can remember, what each word means, because if you know the song, you know the rules.
Certified banger.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it slowly gained traction, and to the point where when we graduated high school, it was at like 90 or 100,000 views, which to us was, that was we're walking on sunshine with that. And now I've had people say to me like, hey, we saw your Spanish video in my college level Spanish class. So if we knew that it was going to be a teaching tool, we might have worked on it a little harder. So we ended up doing a third one our senior year that was more video wise. I think I learned a lot from Sarah Nastar that I did on the third one, but audibly we had some audio issues with that one, but that like trilogy all put together, that was like the thing that made me want to go to film school, was just this like amalgamation of like videos that I did. But now it has like 1 million views, just because like every year you get a new influx of viewers that were, they're being taught by their Spanish teacher, and the teacher will put it on, and the kids will go home and like study to that song, and you'll see comments of people being like, oh, my teacher showed this to me in class. I can't believe I'm listening to it outside of class.
Yeah.
I got an A.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So it also was,
I get it now.
it was also like the way that I learned how to like receive negative feedback on the internet too, because the nature of videos getting that big is there's going to be people that say, hey, that kid looks like the Columbine shooter.
That's not funny. Guys, that's not funny.
Dude, that's not funny.
They're not wrong. They're not wrong. But still, but that was the breeding ground of like, let's get all the negative comments and like get that out of the way for me at least. So now I get negative comments, and I'm familiar with that, which has helped. But
you're like immune to it.
It still hurts.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's just like when someone calls you a curly-haired fuck.
Oh, who would do that?
Yeah. Wait, what are you talking about?
I don't know. What are you saying?
Okay. We'll table that, because I have no idea what you're saying, dude. You're gonna have to break that down.
Yeah. No. Nobody called me a curly-haired fuck behind the scenes.
I hope not. That's horrible.
Yeah, no, that'd be terrible, right?
I hope no one would ever say that to you.
Oh, yeah.
Curly-headed fuck. Anyway, but dude, let's actually take it from there, because this is interesting. So this is like, now we're kind of like at late high school, right?
Yeah.
So we get to college. This is where you and I met. I don't know if I was yours, but you were my first ever like desk mate in college. So computer, it was web development. I couldn't even tell you. Funny story. I got in trouble in that class because I let somebody else look at my homework assignment. I did all the work. And I was like,
that's right.
And I was like,
all about that.
Yeah, here's my homework, teach. And then someone was like, hey, do you mind if I like look at that? And then I was like, yeah, I don't care. And I hadn't made one single error. So the professor noticed the same exact little error in mine and somebody else's, and I had to go speak with her privately in her office, and I was like, yeah, I did. I let someone look at it, but I did the work. Like, I'll do it again to prove that I understand this. But yeah, and then she's like, fine, don't do it again, but get out of here. That was kind of but it was like, crazy. She's like, technically this is like illegal.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think you'd be in prison if not for that?
Yes.
Dude, if Teach was cool, like if she was Teach, but she was professor or whatever, but if she was Teach,
she would have locked your
She kind of was Teach, because she was pretty much just like, yeah, like, you can't do this stuff, dude. I'm going to let you go, but like, just know there's going to be a warning kind of thing.
Interesting.
I'm like, all right. I won't do my homework and also help others.
No,
I'll just do my homework.
You were definitely the first like person that I met at college.
But yes.
Yeah.
So Zach and I sat next to each other in college. First class. So first person I met in that class, we sat next to each other. And we started to like, chat and realize, we were the same major, cinema production. And I actively remember a week or two in, after class, you invited me to your dorm room to show me some animation you've been working on, right? So you had it was in Blender. So at this point, you had been doing animations in college, in high school, but like it bled into college a little bit. I mean, maybe now you would look at it and be like, but at the time, I was like, this is amazing.
Sure.
And I was like, a part of me for a moment was like, am I like behind? I was like, does everyone know how to do this? I feel so behind. And then so for a while I'm like, I should quit. I
Oh,
should quit
no.
school. Yeah.
No
like this
way.
dude is so good. And it wasn't long until I realized like,
Oh, that's funny.
oh, dude, nobody does this. Like Zach is the
Yeah.
guy.
You met
He's the
me.
guy in college. Dude, juniors and seniors were. Yeah, I met Jake. That's
He's like, oh, okay, I'm good.
yeah. But he was TVR.
Yeah.
Like nobody in TVR did anything.
No,
so
we
that
were-
was a
no, we
different
all
major.
sucked.
Yeah.
But dude, like seniors were doing their thesis films. Like, when you were
Yeah.
a freshman, like, dude, that was like a
Yeah.
thesis film. Like, you
Oh my
want my
gosh,
help.
yeah.
But yeah, they were asking Zach to like help animate their films, and then I was like, all right, dude, no, like, thank God, I'm not alone here in the fact that like I don't know how to do this. But yeah, I was impressed with you back then.
Thanks, dude.
freshman year, man.
Yeah, he was super, super nice, but also super intimidating. But
I
he was
didn't
super
realize I was
nice
that.
too.
I didn't realize I was that intimidating.
No, you weren't.
It's like
God, I hope so.
you weren't intimidating at all. You were very very friendly.
But-
and,
but
like,
his
easy to
mad
talk to.
skills were.
No, his
Sure.
his portfolio was intimidating.
That
dude.
was a solid portfolio.
Dude, he would just carry that thing under his arm like a skateboard.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
portfolio, which I guess was just his laptop.
Yeah.
He'd be like, dude, check this out.
Yeah.
But then you discovered the person underneath that
Oh my
portfolio.
god. Yeah.
That took a minute. Well, I remember in college, like I didn't like you just were so good at making friends too that like you would just have like 6 friends a week. You were just like, I met this guy, we got to go over. Just like
I just pockets.
yeah,
like,
do all this
yeah.
stuff.
Test him out.
Yeah, I just remember like my freshman year, I was that first semester, I really didn't like socialize too much with people. Like if I did, it was like in part of a class or something, or like I just remember that being more solitary than nothing else. So like, and my roommate in college was never there. Like he was part of the theater program, and he was just like at the theater tech program. So he would spend nights in the theater department, just like working overnight on this stuff. So I never saw him. So it felt like I was living in a single, and I was just not good at making friends at that point. But like, so I
You
would
built them in Blender.
I did,
You
yes.
built your own friends.
yeah, but that, I mean, that's what I like started to focus on was building friends.
Yeah. What a group of friends you built.
Yeah.
Because eventually Nick befriended Zach, and there was a whole
Yeah.
group of you guys who sort of befriended each other.
Some of you may already have heard of Grant.
Yeah,
He was in that squad.
Yeah, going
Yes.
back, Nick may have been good at making friends early on, but
Yes.
we were not quick friends, him and I.
Yeah. Listen
Somebody
to
was a curly-headed fuck.
2 episodes ago. If you're curious about this story, listen 2 episodes ago. It's called Experts Origins.
Yeah, not on
the
video, sorry.
It's not on video, so you have to use your imagination.
Yeah. You were sort of that person who's kind of the, you were the expert at the time. He was the expert.
But now I'm sharing the knowledge, man.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
are all. You guys have grown your wings, and you're so good. You
all
guys are so
experts.
good at it now.
Yeah, you're the heartbringer. You bring everyone the matchmaker. But yeah, so I mean, I met you through that group too, like just from like through Grant and Tyler and all them.
Yeah.
That's how I met you. And I mean, I think it was the 48-hour film fest that we did where we really like discovered that we were like pretty much the same person.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, when you grow up in upstate New York, there's a couple paths you can go down. It's nerdy film kid.
Yeah.
Who does a lot of internet stuff.
Yeah.
Skateboarder.
Oh,
Or jock of some sort.
Yeah,
And,
lacrosse player.
Yeah, exactly. We
Wax
did
is
that
cool.
bad.
I don't know.
I don't know
I
what
never
the deal
did
is.
it.
I don't know what the deal is with lacrosse being
Yeah.
so big in like just New York.
It really is.
Right.
It's so weird.
It's like a preppy sport that like dies after high school. You don't even see it in college.
Yeah,
much.
I have a few cousins that played like college lacrosse, and they were very good at it. And it's a huge.
What were
culture.
their names?
I'm not saying.
You don't remember. That's why. You don't even know.
I have
You
so
don't know
many
their
cousins.
names.
I have so many cousins.
No.
I mean, it's and it doesn't really have transferable skills like
No,
American
right.
football does. I mean, let's be real. That's
Sure.
Yeah.
like
Dude.
a
It tells you,
CTE.
it tells you, yeah, it tells you to do a little bit of work.
Ba-da-da. Is that the song?
Ba-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so sick.
Yeah.
American football.
Yeah, but yeah, so we met through that like 48-hour film fest that we did, where it was just, I think in hindsight, we took that so seriously, and it was like, what was it, the 7 of us? It was like you, me, Grant, Tyler, Matt, you, and Clinton.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was the 7
Bergman
of us.
was there too, I think.
Oh, Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew too. So the 8 of us were working. We got the prompts, and we were like, all right, we gotta get all this stuff together. And we had Taj on standby to help act in the film.
He was great.
He killed it.
They gave me 30 days.
But yeah, that was
And you, dude.
Yeah, and then me. So I
You
was
were
like,
in it.
I was like, yeah, I'll act, whatever.
Great.
We were just talking about this before the camera rolled. We were going over all of our projects we did in college, and Zach was like, I didn't really act in any of them, but you did. You were the original.
You were the star. Yeah, he was
in
the first one.
Yeah. But
The one
yeah,
that brought
there's
us
a
all
reason
together.
for
It
that.
was the
The
most
one-
important.
yes.
Yeah.
I was so cold. It's like in the middle of February, and I was in a t-shirt. They're like, no,
It was
he's gotta-
raining. It was raining,
in
yeah.
miserable weather, and they're like, no, he's got to be in a white shirt only. I was like, cool.
Zach, I feel like all of the live action projects you participated in, maybe except for Art of Adjustment, but
Yeah.
like you were just driven to miserable levels on all of them.
Yeah.
Nah, no.
They became amazing. Don't get me wrong, but
Listen, yeah. I mean, I liked doing animation for a reason. It's because I didn't have to. I could sit at my computer and do everything.
Yeah.
But yes, so we did that, and we submitted it, and we were all so proud of it. And then we realized that we were the only people to submit to this festival, so we were the de facto winners.
Oh, dude, we crushed it.
crushed it.
I still have that camera bag. That was
really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I
that's so
think
funny.
I do too.
Yeah,
hilarious.
we won the prize. We did it. We were first place at the 48-hour film festival
Yeah.
for Ithaca College
Yeah.
in 2011.
Yeah.
11 or 12?
It would have been 12.
12. Yeah,
Spring.
12.
Yeah.
Well, we did it. No one can take that away from us, and also
one tried.
No one tried.
No one tried to take that away from us. It
Yeah,
was-
and you
it
know
was-
what? We left by default with bags, gear, like film gear.
Yeah.
But we also left as boys.
Yeah.
We did. We
right.
did. We really
Yeah.
did.
Look at you guys.
Yeah, now
It's because
we're-
of that
now we're
project,
boys.
kind of. Because of that project, kind of. You guys are sitting on the same couch
Exactly.
right now.
It's very true.
12 years later.
Very
But
true.
yeah, so then from there, I think we just like started helping on each other's projects. I mean, you two linked up to do It Factor.
Yes.
And that was your like, it was you two and Chris. Oh,
Yeah.
it was really you
So,
and Chris.
It was for my class.
Right.
And then Chris Trigg. Shout out to Chris Trigg.
Chris Trigg.
What a boy,
Chris.
dude. Chris, Chris tagged along to produce it
Yeah.
for the class as well. And then Jake and I co-wrote it.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what it
like,
was.
creatively, it was like all of our projects.
Oh, we were all working on that.
I got the grade for it.
Yeah, there you go.
but
And I got the fun.
But yeah, Jay, like it was a blast because I was just skateboard. I would
Yeah,
literally
that's
like
right.
I would skateboard over to Jake's apartment on Friday nights, and like we would just like sit on the balcony and just write it. It was a blast, and
Yeah.
then
So fun.
yeah, it was a good time. And then and Zach was on board. Actually, Zach did some. So that was kind of the first time we collaborated
Yeah.
because Zach did some animating. It wasn't nothing 3D, just kind of like some cool like After
Yeah, it
Effects
was
stuff.
motion graphic stuff.
Motion graphic stuff for the project, but it like total game changer. It like really
That was
made
fun.
it stand out.
I did do like at least first passes of the edits for the music scenes. I remember that. But yeah, and then I did like one instrumental for like the pop version of
Zach wrote one of there's like 3 prominent songs in it, and Zach wrote one of them.
Yeah, that was the instrumental was
exactly.
Was from me.
That was sick.
But that's talking about Trustin too.
Oh, right.
That's how we looked up. But from and then from there it was Hack Jobs. I think we just jumped basically right into that.
Yes.
But
Which, by the way, you did 3D model for Hack Jobs, the camera. A single little security camera, you 3D
for Hack
modeled
Jobs. Yeah,
it
for
in
Hack
Hack
Jobs.
Jobs. Just
Yeah,
threw
yeah.
that on the ceiling.
there were a few things that I.
What else did you...
There was so the Hack Jobs was a movie that I did my sophomore year, where it's a heist movie. That was these 3 guys. It was these 2 and our friend Dan, and the 3 of them were the bully. The 3 of them were like like the tech nerd kids, but they'd get roped into this heist where they'd have to be like the tech team. And I still think the title Hack Jobs is just a perfect title for that. Of like that's who they are to their core, is they just don't care about anything, but they got roped in and they're in this intense situation where they're in the middle of this diamond heist. So I wrote and directed that. And that the experience of shooting that really like drove me to my limit of being able to like be on set and coordinate that and everything. But I did do some VFX for it. There's a scene where someone gets hit with a dart in the neck and falls down.
Right.
We didn't have a dart, so I just 3D model. I was like, I'll just
stunt people.
Yeah,
either.
I was like, I'll just 3D model it. Yeah, we had Brando.
oh, that's true. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Shout out to Brando.
Yeah.
He
Legend.
performed this stunt on location for us. And he was like, here's Dan, this is how you have to do it. And we were like, okay. And he's like, all right, just pretend like, you know, here's where I'm just going to run through it. And this is what, Dan, you should do. And Brando does the most perfect stunt fall I have ever seen, where I yell bang as to mimic him getting shot. And the kid just drops. Like, I thought he got hurt, but he did the most perfect stunt fall. And none of us were recording this. I feel so bad because he committed and
he knows
hit,
it. He knows his stuff.
and oh my gosh,
I don't know.
It was so great.
I don't know if he's trained. You know how some people like. I remember there's this guy Hugo. Remember Hugo?
Yeah, Hugo.
Hugo told me that he's from Brazil,
Yeah.
so he speaks Portuguese. Grew up speaking Portuguese, but he spoke pretty good English. And he told me that he learned English by watching movies. I wonder if
Right.
Brando just learned stunts from watching movies,
Absolutely.
like no
Yeah.
joke, you know.
Yeah,
and he
absolutely.
just does that. Like he knows how to do them perfectly.
Yeah.
just because
Yeah.
he watched so
He's
many
like, yeah, I
movies.
watched Avengers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
check this out. Just
But yeah,
fall
but
flips
Brando,
over.
but he did that. And then he got up and he was like, all right, Dan, just do that. I mean, to Dan's credit, he committed and he
Yeah.
rolled into
Yeah.
it.
But didn't you use the take of Brando or
No,
am I
it was
wrong?
of Dan.
It was of Dan.
Yeah.
Dude. Nice job, Dan.
But yeah, I mean, Brando was just like, here, just do this. And we were like, okay, yeah, let's just do that.
Yeah.
But yes, I did the 3D model of the dart on his neck and then the security cam. I feel like there were like a few other things I did. I mean, I did a lot of like compositing VFX in that. That was just kind of my whole thing. But yeah, and then that was the movie that made me be like, you know what, I think I'm going to do animation.
Yeah, I think if anything, all of us at one point in college collectively decided that production is, to some degree, a form of hell. I think we all went through that collectively, which is why we're all interested in either post-production or pre-production.
Yeah.
A little fun story for people who are interested in making movies, production and movie sets, even at the student level, which, you know, is bound to be a nightmare because nobody knows what they're doing and it's what it's for. But even beyond that, even at a professional level, not very fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Like actually, Zach and I have a similar professional first, which was in the summer between sophomore and junior of college. We
Yeah.
worked a few weeks on actually different units.
Yeah.
I was on first unit. I'm just going to throw that
Yeah.
out there.
I
Zach was on second.
I was there for
second unit.
1 day.
Okay, you were on for one
But
day.
I counted. It's on my IMDb.
Yeah,
It's not going
I was
anywhere.
on there for a couple weeks. We worked on set of the Amazing Spider-Man 2, the Andrew Garfield, Mark Webb version. And honestly, like we finally get like this gig on like basically like the biggest movie in the world being shot, and like you get there and it's like rainbows and sunshine. It's like everything you would think of like being on a movie set would be for 5.
Yeah.
And then you're just like standing in the sun sweating for 15 more hours.
Yeah.
And you're just miserable, dude. And I did that for weeks. And then I moved to LA and essentially did that for a year and a half. And I had some great experiences, don't get me wrong, but also
More
I was
power to
depressed and my knees broke. So there's that, you know?
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
social life. Like I was waking up at 5 a.m., getting home at 9 p.m. And then that's not even enough time to sleep, let alone like brush your teeth or like read a book or something. Like I couldn't do anything, man.
Yeah. I mean, that being on set is just like, it's an exercise in patience, especially if you're in a department that comes in, does a job, and then leaves so that other departments can come in, like, you know, the cinematographer, the director, the actors can come in and like block out stuff. But even then, like, if you're not like in that core leadership team, you are just sitting around waiting for your team.
Yeah.
It's like hurry up and wait is the mindset of a lot of productions on set.
And I just want to put it out there that it is for some people. Some people love that life.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
like, if
totally.
that's for you, eat it up, go for it. For real.
Yeah.
Just like, enjoy it, because I know a lot of people who work on crew who really just
great.
genuinely love doing it, love the atmosphere, love the vibe, and like they really have that energy and that drive. So like,
They wake up and they go, "Oh boy, we're making movies today!"
Yeah.
And then they wake up at, they go on set for 15 hours. They drive 1 hour each way, and they come back and they go to sleep thinking, "Oh boy, I'm making a movie tomorrow."
Yeah.
That's just a great life.
and honestly, surface level from what you just said, this sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
really does sound pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But so you worked on The Amazing Spider-Man for a day.
I was on there for a day.
So are you going to create a video
quit.
essay about The Amazing
About me taking down the Amazing Spider-Man. No, I'll tell you the story of me working on that set for a day. It was the very opening scene in the movie where Paul Giamatti's character is driving this gigantic semi-truck through cop cars. It's like the first stunt in the movie where you see him plow through these cop cars. I'm somewhere in that scene standing behind a door or whatever. But I was on set for one day because I was working at the same time. I was doing VFX for another student film, and I was working on the VFX until I left to go work on this movie for a week. I think we were going to go up there for at least a couple days. It was Grant and I, and we drove up there. And I was on set for a day, and when you get on set super early in the morning, you check in. We were PAs, just like set production assistants, and our job was to lock down locations so that no one could walk through. And it's a very basic job. They need people to do that though. So I just have no attention span. I get on this set, and it's my first big movie set. I'm like, oh wow, all these lights and crew workers, and I get to work here, kind of like what you described.
Yeah.
And I was so caught up in that I forgot that I was doing a job. So I was on the walkie, and I was there as a student. I was 20 years old, and I was like, I'm gonna check in with other departments on different stations to see what I'm curious. I want to know what the chatter on different departments sound like. So, I think it was after lunch or something. I was standing in my location, just making sure that no one walked through, but I'm flipping through the channels on the walkie just to make sure that, just to see what's up.
As you do.
And,
Well, as you don't do, I'm guessing.
as you don't
but
do. Yeah. Well, I flip back to the channel that I'm supposed to be on, and I hear someone the key PA screaming, "Does anyone have eyes on Zach? Where is Zach? Does anyone see Zach?" I was like, oh no. So I
bet your heart dropped.
oh my God, I was so scared. Well, I think I faked my walkie being dead. I didn't want to fess up that I had been dicking around and just flipping through different channels. So I was I pointed at someone walkie dead, motioning to them like it's dead or whatever.
Oh my God.
And I was mortified. I was so scared that they were gonna just kick me off right there and then. But I quickly learned that I was not supposed to be on a film set in a very high stakes setting. But I did get to see someone from props or something was standing next to me in between takes, and they showed another person. They were like, "Dude, check this out!" And they pull out of their pocket one of the eye pieces on Spider-Man's mask, which at this point hadn't been publicly I think they put out one promotional image, and I remember we were shooting Hack Jobs and that came out. And I was showing everybody on set. I was like, guys, pause what you're doing. Look at this Spider-Man costume. It's the best. It looks so good. Which I
was
paused
a foot away from that eye.
Yeah. So I was so excited to see
smell
that. Yeah. Which, by the way,
awesome.
that is still, I retain the best Spider-Man on-screen costume of all time. That's the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. That's my objective opinion.
Dude, I honestly,
so
after this pod, I got it on Blu-ray. Let's pop that scene in.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Anyway, so
that's
awesome.
So that was my experience of realizing that, you know what, I think I'm gonna not be on set, and I think I'm gonna do animation because it's a lot less stakes.
Well, so that segues us to, this is end of sophomore year. We go into junior year. Let's clump junior and senior year because we're getting to the time where we have to start making our thesis films. Jake and I did a musical about a chiropractor who goes to prison for malpractice, which was a fun little project that took a year and a half to make.
Hilarious. It's so funny.
But Zach, on the other hand, I think the origin of something happened around or as a direct product of your thesis film.
Yes.
You want to dive into that?
Yeah, an excellent segue. So the reason my artist name is No the Robot is because of a character that I came up with for my own thesis film, which was a animation about artists in a jukebox that are personified as characters that live on a street. And it was about this new DJ robot coming in named No. And this character comes in and realizes that he's on the very, like, the second to last house on this block. And he realizes pretty soon on that he doesn't like anyone in the jukebox. But he sees there's this other artist that has been there for 50 years. His name is Costello. And he was supposed to be like the old jukebox artist from like the 50s. So he's been there, he's seen it all. So the animation becomes this meeting of new music and old music. And, you know, the thesis at the end of it is to say, like, you know, it doesn't matter what kind of music you like. It's just whatever you enjoy is, you know, there's no such thing as good or bad music. It's just, you know, it's just all music and you can like what you can like.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
It's a fantastic little short film.
That was the animation I was working on. But this character I designed, Noah the Robot, was inspired by Deadmau5, the DJ.
Yeah, that's right. That's
not
right.
with his head, with the mouse head on. I used to watch his live streams back before like Twitch was a thing. He would just have his own like live platforms where he would stream himself making music.
And the website was literally live streamed.
It was something.
it was
I forget what it was, but he used to like wear a hat that said something sarcastic on it. And he would sit at his computer and just make this electronic music. And that's kind of like how I discovered, you know, that I like electronic music at all. Seeing that process of him being really like sarcastic and like aggressive towards like creative decisions that he would make. But I liked that image of just like a DJ that just hates being a DJ. So when I just drew out this like robot character, I had done an animation before that had a robot in it. So I was like, I like robots. I liked Bionicle growing up. So that was my like robot. My interest in robots came from that. So I made this robot character. And when I drew him initially, I wanted something sarcastic to put on his hat. So I just wrote the word no. Because I was like, it was just this. It was legitimately the hat that I have on now. I just wrote the word no on it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. So I ended up naming him No, and there's this like bit in the animation that's like a back and forth, like a who's on first kind of thing. So that was the origin of that character. Now that character sat in that animation forever, and I just didn't do anything with it.
Just waiting to be grabbed.
Waiting.
And by the way, I auditioned for a role as a supporting character in that film, and you know what he said to me? No.
No.
No. Not you, dude.
Yeah, I was doing some like live action mocap-ish, not mocap, but just like reference footage with that. And I went in a certain direction, and then I was like, nah, I just like changed directions halfway through. So you'll get your due one day.
No, it's all good.
In a project,
Yeah,
for sure.
I appreciate the chance.
Yes, thank you. I made this animation and I let it sit for years, and then I started making music back. I was always kind of making music in the background, but I wanted to make more music in like 2018, 2019. And I decided, I was like, what if I took this character from my animation and used it as my persona? Because, you know, I didn't really like being on camera, and like, you know, filming myself always felt awkward. Even when I was recording videos with my friends, it was always just like, I'm going to record my friends doing this and they're going to be the on screen, and I'm much better at being behind the camera and framing it up and editing. But I never was comfortable on camera in that way. So I was like, well, I can do animations, and this character could be the stand-in for me. And that just became, you know, my avatar in that sense. So it kind of in the sense of like Gorillaz is like this like virtual band kind of thing. And then during the pandemic, I started to put out like one new song a month. That was like my goal. Just at the beginning of 2020, it wasn't even like, I didn't, obviously no one knew the pandemic was coming. So I was like, okay, 2020, I'm just going to do a song a month, see if I can do that.
Yeah,
and just
sure.
Release one, not knowing 2020 would become what it is. But I started to get more into like combining the art side with the music side, and like putting more like, you know, maybe not music videos, like fully animated music videos, but like animated content with this character playing this music. And then I basically did that the whole year. I put out an EP at the beginning of the following year, just kind of took the 6 best songs, put them on an album. And that was cool. And I still would like to make more music in the future. But I also realized, you know, I had a lot of fun just doing the 3D art in that sense. And I decided, well, I could just make a separate account, like on Instagram or whatever, just for 3D art. So I don't have to worry about combining it with music. I can just make 3D art. So I called the page Know the Robot just as my like artist name in that sense. And so it really didn't start as like, you know, the avatar being the person posting. It was really just, I was posting anything. Like I did like an animation of the Mars rover. I did another one of just like Spider-Man animation. So I wasn't planning on having the virtual avatar carry over to be like the artist now making the art. That just kind of like, you know, that kind of happened naturally. But that, you know, that just the beginning of that, like that my Instagram account really, which turned into my TikTok account too. I found on TikTok what worked well was having my avatar. I started calling him from No. I added the robot because it made more sense to people to be like, no, the robot. And then so on TikTok, what did really well was me showcasing the avatar and then talking over it like like any TikTok would. You know,
These are 3 tips for any way to animate a short.
Yeah. But even just like, you know, you could take audio that was popular, like just someone saying anything, and then you could lip sync it. And that's kind of the language of TikTok. So I did that with my animated character. I didn't, you know, look too far to see if anyone was doing that. I just started doing it. And I had a few ones do really well from that. So I said, oh, okay. So the ones that are working are the ones where this character is the one that's like posting like in his room or something. So that was, I mean, that's kind of, you know, we can fast forward to now where it became my avatar and the stand-in for me.
Being a VTuber, so to speak. And
exactly. I didn't really have a name for it at that point, and I kind of had the idea of doing that like kind of well before I had heard of what a VTuber was, but like, you know, just it was on the periphery of always wanting to do something with this character. I had initially like done some motion capture demos and just experimenting with that with a Kinect. I got this Kinect off of eBay and I was doing some mocap stuff in like 2017. But that's when I discovered VR too.
Was that an Xbox thing?
An Xbox, yep.
Yeah, Xbox camera, yeah.
Yeah, so I took one of those that was like modified to work with your computer. And I was able to figure out how to do motion capture with it. Very jank, like nothing that you could really like print and call good animation. But so I mean, it was just kind of like throwing different things together that ended up turning into what it is now, which was just my own artist's page.
Boom! Face reveal.
Face reveal.
Boom!
Yeah.
Video essays.
Yeah.
Boom!
Yeah.
Animated. What did we call it again? It was what's the Apple term for it? Spatial animation.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious about Jake's first point. What motivated you to do like an epic face reveal? And I hope that is just because you wanted the world to see your luscious locks.
Yeah, that was it.
Which Zach had not had in college. This is
this
the
new.
past couple of years.
This is as long as it's ever been.
Zach is not just cool with the tech as he was in college. He's cool with the hair now.
Thank God.
Man, he's got
it
the
was
beard,
about time.
dude.
He was always cool with the tech and the personality, but now he's cool with
Now
the
he's
hair.
hot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
he's gorgeous.
Yeah, so the face reveal, funny enough, it was around the time that one streamer did a face reveal. His name is Dream.
Yeah. Oh,
You
God.
know this. And so it's this, for those that don't know, there's this streamer that was faceless for the longest time, but he had this mask on that was like kind of a happy face mask. And he would do I think it was video game streams, and he would
Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft. Yeah, so he had these streams and he got really, really big to the point where like any sort of face reveal from him was going to have a reaction one way or the other. It was either going to be like, oh my God, like
He's hot.
yeah, I mean, but like it was
Or, oh my God, he's fat and disgusting. Like,
so
who
like at
knows?
that point, I was like, I saw that happen, his face reveal, and I saw like the backlash to it, and I was kind of like, I don't want, like, if I ever choose to reveal my face like that, I would rather have it done way earlier so
Yeah.
that doesn't happen. And also like the face reveal wasn't really a big deal because I'd shown like I'm on the internet somewhere. Like it's not like you can
Right.
find me.
Yeah.
But
The 48-hour film.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you didn't know that, yeah, you do.
Yeah, now
Look
you-
for
now
it.
you know.
Vimeo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did we call that?
What? Oh my God. What?
Savior.
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 Yes.
Yeah.
Vimeo, you'll find it.
But yeah, so I saw that like backlash with his face reveal, And it gave me the thought of like, well, if I'm ever going to do a face reveal, I should do it before it's a big deal.
Yes,
and like
right.
kind of get ahead of that. So I'd been making these animations with my character. I gave him a narrative of like he was in space, like in his like working office in space, and he had this like AI on board that he could like talk to. It's kind of my way of doing like, not like Seinfeld, but like a very just like low stakes animation where it's just a dialogue back and forth between two characters. And I was doing some motion capture stuff. I did it, the first one was like keyframe animation. So I had this like series that I was doing, just kind of like episodes. It was just for social, like just vertical videos and everything. Because I started my own animation company, Zop Studios, I wanted to just start practicing like, you know, what could animation look like from a modern animation studio. So I did animations for social. So I had this series already, and I was like, you know what, I'll just throw in like a face reveal. I learned how to do like 3D scanning. So I had my partner scan my head. I just sat in my chair and I just went around. After she did that, I went in and took that scan and put it on top of the robot, and it just looked hysterical.
It kind of looks badass.
It was so jank because I had to hide it too. Because in the way that I did the face reveal was in the sketch, the character the robot is printing a head, and that's so the AI on board is like, I don't think you can call it face reveal if you're 3D printing a head, like a face for it. And so we have this back and forth. So like the lore is that I am wearing a head, and then underneath this 3D printed head is the robot. So like that's the
Nice.
like the way to get around it.
I would just like to brag for a second to how many followers did you have when that?
Ooh, on Instagram, it was like the 2,500. And then on TikTok, it was like 73,000 just from other videos that I've done.
I just want to brag to the 73,000 people at the time. We knew, you idiots.
Yeah.
We knew. I'm just kidding. You're not idiots, dude. But we knew.
Thanks,
I just
dude.
want to brag.
Thanks, dude.
But we're very proud of our boy. But yeah, we're very proud of you, our boy, for all the things you've achieved, all the things that you continue to achieve, and all the things that you will do. I think Nick and I can agree on that.
Absolutely. All the way from not cheating in web development to now. Like, dude, you've come a long way. Jake, do you have any other questions? I have one to wrap it up with, but if you have any others.
Enough about me.
I have one, but is it a case where we can only ask one question?
I'll tell you what, ask it at the
We
same
can
time.
No, we can only ask one question each. Jake, you go first.
Are you sure it's not like just a one or the other type situation?
I think we have room
Rapid
for
fire.
both.
Okay.
Fire it up.
Who do you like more, Nick or myself?
Oh, snap, dude.
That's my answer.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Well, but what about Pocket? Pocket's the other cat.
Pocket's great.
He's chill. If you're watching the video, he's like right there.
Whichever
in
one
the
knocked the
center.
camera over, that's my new favorite.
Oh yeah. He's
That's up.
All right. So, what would you say you're most looking forward to in the realm of, and not including the animation you're working on? Sure, that's obvious. In the future of spatial animation, or like social media content production, or like your life in general, like what are you most excited about coming out?
I'd love to get to a point where I could just do these animations and that would be my job, like full time. I'm slowly approaching a point where I can say that is the case. But I would love to have a very healthy balance of making animations as my job, but also being able to step away and like go travel and like, spend time away from the computer.
Yeah.
And, my whole thing is that I'm doing virtual reality because I don't agree with the direction that it's going. I think a lot of metaverse first mindsets about VR is the wrong way to approach this new tech, especially because it's so influential on what we're influencing new generations on with this technology. It has the potential to be very dangerous. So I'm trying to do these animations because I just want to put forth another vision for what this tech can evolve into. Of like what this tech can be used for. And I think, if you look at the history of cinema, to give the quick rant is, real quick. If you look at the history of cinema, you'll see that it started as a novelty. There were these devices called kinetoscopes where you'd pay $0.25 and you get to see these like 20 to 30 second films. That was it. You'd pay your nickel and you'd leave, and that was it.
My God, did you see the moving picture?
Yes.
Do you guys think that like people would get stoned and then go watch those things for 30
Probably.
seconds?
Almost,
Like, that was their
yeah.
activity.
But it was on opium at the time.
Yeah, opium or
Yeah.
absinthe.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But it took artists and storytellers to get a hold of this medium for it to evolve into what we now call cinema. It was literally magicians like George Méliès inventing editing, where we would have a cut in the film, and to the audience, it was a trick. It was an illusion. It was not a real thing that happened, but that's how editing was discovered. And like the language of cinema evolved from artists and storytellers. And like I think if we can put more VR stories and like leading artists first rather than tech bro first with this tech. I think that has the potential to shape it into a better medium to tell stories in, and
Well, I mean, also if you look at just art, most art and film in general, like film wouldn't be very interesting without those artists leading the charge. Look at how
Genuinely.
many amazing movies were made in the 70s, 80s, and like even the 90s.
And it ebbs and flows too, because even like the 70s was a backlash against the big studio films in like the 50s and 60s being so cookie cutter. Like it became a studio system that was just this like assembly line of like how to make a movie. And that became just so dry of artistic vision that you had filmmakers, like Scorsese in the 70s and Francis Ford Coppola making these like more not studio friendly movies. But it just became this artist versus studio, or like big tech, the fighting the man kind of battle. And I think VR is kind of in the same way right now of like, once it gets into the hands of artists and creators, then it can start to evolve into what it will become eventually.
Right. So much like the people getting high and watching those 20-second short films, we're able to eventually get high and watch feature films.
There you go.
Hopefully one day we can all get high and watch your spatial animation.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
but until then, we can get stoned and scroll on Zach's TikTok. So how can we find you on as Know the Robot? How can listeners find you so they can help support this stream of
Yes,
yours?
thank you.
And the stream of ours by Roxy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on YouTube. My YouTube channel is called Know the Robot. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok. It's know_the_robot on Instagram and TikTok. But I make 3D art, animations, and then on YouTube and TikTok now, do animation discussions on feature films and animation breakdowns and stuff like that. But all in leading up to the eventual, hopefully, Kickstarter for my VR project. To try to direct people towards that one day. But until then, it's animation breakdowns and art and bionicle animations, because it's my page and I can do what I want.
And it's fun.
And it's
a
fun.
lot of
Yeah.
good stuff on there.
Yes.
Well, Nick, I think I think you and I certainly learned something.
Yeah.
Learned a thing.
Would you say we learned nothing?
Learned no thing.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I did learn that Zach is a liar because he refused to pick a favorite. And I
Yeah,
know it's
that's
not
true.
Pepper. And I don't even know if it's me.
I
But I
don't
know
know.
that he didn't say it wasn't.
I'm not saying
Yeah. He didn't say me either, so I mean
Yeah.
all right, well
I'm sure he likes aspects of both of us.
Yes.
I'm sure
Yeah, some aspects.
yeah,
well,
thank
thank you
you.
for having me on this wonderful fireside chat with
Oh,
all
yeah, we
these
should- yeah.
cats roaming around.
I
and
know, they slept
and-
for a while,
Yeah,
but
I see that. No.
yeah, now we're like,
Oh, if the cat wants to stop recording, you can go ahead and
Pepper,
do that
can
too.
you, can you hit
You just want to hit that so we don't have to get up?
Pep,
the red button,
Oh,
Pepper?
now you don't want to get
Pep,
up?
no.
Okay. Well,
Pep,
All right, well, dude, good chat. Good
Yeah.
to get to know you.
don't do
Yeah,
that,
thanks.
Pep.
Cool. All right. Well, that was fun.
yes.